Growing up, I was raised by a wonderful family. I had loving parents who took me to church as often as possible. They were very involved. The good news of Jesus was something that I was very familiar with and came to receive at a young age. Ephesians 6 talks about the reason why we need a shield of faith is to extinguish the flaming arrows of the evil one. And that flaming arrow from Satan that came at me was called abuse. When I was around 10 or 11, a trusted family friend and respected member of our community began grooming me. And by the time I was in my junior high years, I was experiencing full-on childhood sexual abuse. I don't really remember a time in my life that I didn't feel shame. It's hard to remember the years before the abuse started happening. I had heard the promises of God, but I didn't think that they could possibly be true for me anymore. The abuse continued throughout my teenage years. I was able to get away and go to college and put some physical distance between me and the situation that I felt powerless in, thinking that if I just get away from it, then I can put that part of my life behind me and pretend like it never happened. I can throw it in a box, lock it, and throw away the key. There was so much rubble and chaos around me that I was constantly having to numb and escape the reality of what surrounded me. And my go-to way of numbing and escape became alcohol. By that time, my husband and I had 2 young sons, and it was increasingly difficult just to make it through every day. I was oftentimes having to call him to come home because I was having panic attacks, breakdowns. I didn't realize that it was all being caused by shame. I thought I would live the rest of my life hiding this secret of abuse and keeping this in the dark. I never in a million years thought that I would bring it to light. I never thought that it was something that God could do something with. Normally, I wouldn't have accepted an invitation to coffee with a friend because I was scared of being authentic and vulnerable. I didn't want to be known. I didn't want to be seen. But something inside me told me that I needed to go to this coffee date. And when I showed up and I met this friend, I did trust her, and she was truly the hands and feet of Jesus, and she responded to me, I believe, just like Jesus would have. And so I trusted her. And several weeks later, I told her about the abuse. I brought to light that which was in the darkness, and I think that disarmed the power of shame right there, just bringing it to light. My fellowship with God began to be restored, and then my fellowship with others not only was possible, but began to be restored as well. And I heard his voice so clearly, and I remember I felt his presence so much, and all of a sudden, all those questions that I had in my mind didn't matter anymore, because I knew that God truly had been pursuing me, and he never let me go. Even though I'd been running for so long, it had been more than a decade since I had experienced the abuse, and here God was still right there, just waiting for me to come to the end of me and turn to him and just say, help, I need you. I started taking in just large amounts of his word to just feel that emptiness and the void that was created by shame. I couldn't get enough. I felt like I was, walking in a desert and then stopping and drinking at a fire hydrant. I just couldn't get enough of his word. It was truly going forth and providing healing. I know there are people that are going to be watching this, and this is God drawing the line in the sand in your life. This day was written for you to hear this, and I believe God wants to speak to you through this testimony of his goodness and his faithfulness and his pursuit, that you can look to him no matter what's been done to you, no matter what you've done, and you just simply surrender and say, I'm tired of doing this on my own. I'm not meant to live in shame, and just ask him for help. And I'm believing the same thing that he did for me, he's wanting to do for you today. I'm believing that today, if you're hearing this and you've been saddled by shame, that he's wanting to tell you that he's here and that he's seen what's been done to you. He's seen what you've experienced. He's seen what you've gone through. He's even seen what you've done, and it's okay. He still has a plan for you. His promises are still available to you. All you have to do is turn to him and just surrender what you've been holding on to.